meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated on the agenda. This meeting site is fully accessible, and any person requiring further accommodation should contact Dr. Milliman. Let us open with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Cloud.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a quorum present and our mission statement. Mr. Hendricks.
Lebanon Community School Corporation challenges everyone every day to reach a new best.
Great, thank you. And now we are very excited to welcome our madrigals to come and entertain us this holiday season. So come on, madrigals.
With all this frosty tide, let your doors swing open wide. The wind may follow and snow beside. And draw us in by your fires and by. Joy shall be yours in the morning. Here we stand, sun beams empty. Come far away to read. You by the fire and we by the street. Bringing joy in the morning. Sing of the stars, 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 bring bliss to bliss and gladness on. Bliss to more and more on. Joy for every morning. Good man Joseph toiled through the snow, saw a star or a stable low. Dare reach he might not further go. Welcome passion and victory known. Joy was hers in the morning. Joy was hers in the morning. And then they heard the angels tell, who were the first to cry Noel. Animals all as it befell. In the stable where they did dwell. In the stable where they did dwell. Joy shall be theirs in the morning. Joy shall be theirs in the morning. Joy shall be theirs in the morning. Be merry, 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 oh, be merry, merry, oh. Be merry, 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 oh, be merry, merry, oh. Be merry, oh so merry, oh so merry. Be merry, 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 oh. Be merry, merry, oh so merry. With holy dressed up festive hall, with holy dressed up festive hall. Be merry, 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 oh. Be merry, 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 oh. Be merry, 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 oh. Prepare the song, the feast of all, to welcome Merry Christmas all. Prepare the song, the feast of all, to welcome Merry Christmas. Prepare the song, the feast of all, to welcome Merry Christmas all. Prepare the song, the feast of all, to welcome Merry Christmas. Be merry, 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 oh, be merry, merry, oh. Be merry, 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 oh, be merry, merry, oh. Be merry, oh so merry, oh so merry. Be merry, 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 oh. Be merry, merry, oh so merry. Be merry, 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 oh. Be merry, merry, oh so merry. Be merry, 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 merry. gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
From God our heavenly
From God
Father,
a blessed angel came,
and unto certain
with
shepherds
tidings of the same.
how that
The Son of God by name. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Now to the Lord sing praises, all you within this place, and with true love and brotherhood each other now embrace. This holy tide of Christmas all others doth efface. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning.
And what was in those ships, all 3 on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day? And what was in those ships, all 3 on Christmas Day in the morning?
They sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Oh, they sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day in the morning. And all the bells of earth shall ring on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And all the bells on earth shall ring on Christmas Day in the morning. Then let us all rejoice amain on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Then let us all rejoice amain on Christmas Day in the morning. Peace, peace, peace on earth and goodwill to all. This is a time for joy. This is a time for love. Now let us all sing together of peace, peace, peace on earth. Peace, peace, peace on earth and goodwill to all. This is a time for joy. This is a time for love. Now let us all sing together of peace, peace, peace on earth. Silence night, holy night, God is born, all is bright. This is a time for virgins honor and joy. This is a time so tender and mild, sweet and heavenly peace, sweet and heavenly
Wow, that should put you in the holiday spirit. Thank you, students and Mrs. Chef. That was wonderful. All right, now we're moving on to our approval of our special session minutes from November 4th and the regular meeting minutes from November 18th. Are there any questions or corrections to those minutes? Can I have a motion to approve the special session and the regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Clauser. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Superintendent announcements and celebrations.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison and board. Just some celebrations to start off with this evening. I just want to take a moment and congratulate 1984 grad Ed Schilling. He was inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, the 64th class, the Hall of Fame. I'll give you some background information this evening and some pictures of Ed, and it's a testament to the rich tradition we have here, of course. And we celebrated our Final Four team at a home basketball game just recently as well. So he was not part of that particular team. But congratulations to Mr. Schilling for that honor. Also wanted to highlight this evening Claire Gramlin. She is captured her 100th win in girls wrestling. That's quite a feat, and it looks like they were all prepared with posters and everything for her at that meet. There's a congratulations to her and a picture of her celebrating that 100th victory. So congratulations to her. Our own Jacqueline Wernicki, who is the elementary music teacher at Central Elementary, submitted an application for a grant. This was from the Indiana Sports Corp and Big Ten, and she was the recipient, one of the recipients in Indiana. It was a statewide competitive grant. She received $40,000 for instruments to be purchased for her music classroom, and I put some pictures in there. She was celebrated on the floor of Lucas Oil Stadium during the Big Ten championship game. She's wearing IU red, as you can see in that color, so she was at least representing the state well as well. Congratulations to her. Very exciting for the students. Very exciting for her. She does an outstanding job, as you can imagine, in the classroom. So thank you for that. Also, wanted to put in a thank you this evening. Annually, the Boone County Community Foundation has annually contributed to the school district, and this has normally gone into the Lebanon Educational Foundation to support the work and the scholarships and the classroom grants that go to our teachers. They actually doubled that amount this year. So I just wanted to publicly thank them for their ongoing partnership with us. We have a great relationship with the Boone County Community Foundation, and this $10,000 for Lebanon Educational Foundation will be put to good use to support the many programs within our classrooms. Thank you for that to them. I hate to end it on a downer, but I wanted to share a little bit of a downer, but I wanted to share with the board too in the announcements, and if those who subscribe to my weekly 3 newsletter, I put this information out last week as well. There was recently an article published by the Capital Chronicle that included a survey of public school superintendents from around the state. It's really talking about how SEA 1, Senate Bill 1, we anticipate as public school superintendents that bill over time affecting the finances of our public schools. I thought the article did a great job of summarizing some things. You have some link there to the survey data, so you can get as granular in that as you like. Feel free to ask Mr. Dennis or I questions at any time around that. Some of the highlights of that, just for the audience to be thinking about, 95.3% of the superintendents that responded expect a negative impact during this upcoming fiscal year. So almost all of us are expecting that. 99% expect a negative impact in future years. How will that show itself in public schools? The respondents were asked to identify items that may be reduced or eliminated. Things that were included throughout the state included reduction or elimination of field trips, reduction or elimination of sports programs, elective courses, transportation services, facility improvements, planned facility improvements, reduction of teaching staff, reduction of support staff, reduction of all staff, administrative and otherwise. 65% of the school corporations have reported that they've already reduced or will reduce staff as a result of SEA 1. So after those celebrations, I hate to share that information, but there is a reality in what we're facing. Mr. Dennis does a great job of providing updates to the board. Certainly his August budget presentation, as well as presentation of your certified budget, outlines some of that, and how over the arc of the next 8 to 10 years, when this plays out as it's currently written, could affect Lebanon schools as well. So I encourage you to read the article, click on some of those links, take a look at the surveys, and ask us questions as things go along. Other than that, I certainly wish everyone a great finish to the first semester. Our high school students working on their final exams and getting through that, and I hope the holiday season's everything everyone needs it to be. So that's all I have for announcements and celebrations.
All right, thank you. Only a few more days to go. All right, moving on to informational items, we have construction renovation update.
Yeah, a few exciting ones. I know sometimes we breeze right through this, but I would like to pause at this particular meeting. Exciting things going on. Two of our buildings that are going to experience a phase turnover at the end of this semester. So that would include Hattie B. Stokes. Its second grade rooms and a few teacher workrooms have been completed. We are efficiently making our way through that building. What is being taken next are our two kindergarten rooms, and I do want to take the time to thank specifically those kindergarten teachers as moving what we've accumulated in the kindergarten classroom over some time is quite a bit. Kindergarten requires an awful lot of manipulatives and things of that nature. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. Triller's group, as he and his group of staff are spearheading moving those items rather than contracting with a moving company per se, which we have done at various times for some extra hands on deck for that. So I'd like to thank everybody in that building. Along those lines, Mr. Dunshee is about to, as transformative as the cafeteria and the administrative offices may be, a lot of us have had an opportunity to tour the new 6th grade pod that is about to be turned over and students will return to when they get back for semester 2. And so I would encourage the board, if you have time, to go tour that space. I'd be happy to take any of you through it that have not seen it. It is a complete facelift of the academic areas of the middle school, and it's our first real academic areas that have been turned over to us. And again, I'd be remiss if I did not thank Mr. Dunshee and his leadership. It's really a moving target constantly. So our 6th graders are moving out of where they have been into their new space, and that requires then the next chunk of the renovation to be taken, which is the current 8th grade wing. And so our 8th grade teachers are moving into their temporary classrooms, which are the old 6th grade classrooms, and there's this giant game of checkers going on as we do that, and not the least of which are our 7th graders that are still persisting in the gym. And so occupied renovations are a true challenge, in the way that really all of our buildings have gone through these is commendable. And so it would not be right if I did not thank all of those staff members for that as they have navigated this. So continue to plug away at the preschool and administrative offices, and as well as the high school, but no phase turnover at that time. So wanted to mention those two.
Thank you. And now, do you want to talk about the 2026 school district budget and tax rate?
Yeah, we've never been able to do this before. We got a new budget field rep from the Department of Local Government Finance, and our 1782 was completed for the first time really in my career at a time other than over the 2-week holiday break. And so I received our 1782 last week, and I will say it is a drastic change over the tax rate that we are used to. So happy to report to the board that our tax rate will be almost 11 cents lower than last year. So the 2025 budget, our tax rate was certified at 97.28. So 97.28 was our tax rate for 2025. What will be published on the Boone County budget order for 2026 is 86.57. So we are nearly 11 cents lower. You might ask why that's the case. One is a booming assessed valuation of the parcels in our school district's taxing boundaries. But the other thing, I think this is worth noting is it is an overall drop in our levy of $200,000. And I'd like to remind the board that part of that is a willingness to do that, and a willingness and a commitment to levy what it is that we need. And we willingly dropped the levy in the operating referendum. The operating referendum is a vital piece of our financial puzzle here at Lebanon Community School Corporation, but 15 cents on the assessed valuation that fund has grown to is not our needs at this time, and that is a willing drop there. The other is a statutory requirement. I have no control over this, but in either of our debt funds, we are only permitted to keep 15% of our annual payments in cash balance. And so in our capital referendum, which is the debt service fund that's paying for our elementary schools, the cash balance in there is continued to be allowed to drop because of the cash balance that had accrued really over the decade that fund has persisted. And so what we end up seeing is a net $200,000 drop in the levy. That is not currently a consequence of SEA 1, although that is coming. And so I will say that this tax rate in the 80s is not one to be expected for budget year 2027. I think it's important to talk about this publicly, that due to the effects of Senate Bill 1, which are gradual over the course of 5 years, but beginning with budget year 27, we will begin to see the effects of that, lowering our net assessed valuation. Obviously, we will have the same needs from a revenue standpoint. Okay, I have every reason to believe our levy will need to be what it is this year, and quite honestly, maybe a little bit more, just due to CPI and cost of living and the increases to property and casualty insurance, fuel, things of that nature, and quite frankly, raises to our staff. And so with that, I know we're not used to kind of a yo-yoing tax rate in this district. It has been managed and allowed to drop gradually. This is a big drop this year, but in all likelihood, it will rise back into the 90s. I don't know if it'll go back to 97 cents for 2027. It's purely going to be a function of what our AV is. And it's entirely possible that with the growth in Boone County, that the depressive nature of SEA 1 may be met and overcome with development of parcels, more homes coming online. So it really is going to be interesting to see how this county's net assessed valuation comes in, specifically, obviously, with the school corporation, as we all have a very vested interest in the school corporation. But they are unknown times where we're headed. And obviously, Senate Bill 1 was marketed as a property tax relief for homeowners. I was at a meeting of many of my peers early in the month of December, and a very interesting slide came up that showed the property taxes paid as a function of income all the way back to 1951. And most recently here, we have seen really since 2007, which is when the property tax 2008 is when they took effect. Property tax reforms, on average, homeowners were paying 3.1% of their income in property taxes. And that has fallen all the way to 2.06 since that time. The max in Indiana actually went back to 1971, where homeowners were paying 5% of their annual income in property taxes. And so Indiana is for all intents and purposes, a state on the low end of property taxes paid. And I just found that to be an interesting fact when you think about the tone and tenor of the previous legislative session as it comes to property tax payments. So happy to answer any questions, but did want to give that update because I've never been able to because it's always been a few weeks yet before I get our 1782.
Mr. Dennis, how do we compare to other districts in this county and our surrounding ones?
So again, as I shared over the summer in our budget work sessions and whatnot, I still do believe that our diversification of our parcels, meaning residential, commercial, industrial, business, personal property, rentals, apartments, things like that, it has traditionally made us very immune to specific targeted changes to property tax laws. I worry for us and how we might project, since Senate Bill 1 didn't just alter one type of parcel, a 1% parcel or a 2% or a 3% parcel. So I worry that our advantage historically might become our disadvantage. But the most radical of changes that will take effect for 2026 is that $300 credit to homeowners. So it is our neighbors that are heavy residential that are going to feel major consequences now. That's less than 50% of our property tax base. Residential parcels are not as predominant as the commercial and industrial parcels in our district, which makes us immune to those immediate effects. Let all 5 years of Senate Bill 1 take place, we will feel the effects that our peers are feeling eventually.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Dennis?
I applaud you for all the hard work.
Yes, thank
and
you.
It's
Keep
quite
us
amazing
very
what we've been able
informed.
to accomplish and still reduce that, the tax rate. When I first came on, it was always trying to keep right at or just above 1, and now
Yeah.
it's yet to be able to be that.
Yeah, happy to share that
Appreciate all
news.
you've done, your
Yeah.
digging in and unique ways of navigating through the tough times, so appreciate you.
Yeah.
Is there going to be anything that we would expect to see in terms of any delayed taxes from any sort of the, TIF districts and things like that, that's going to change some of this in terms of what our percentages are and what we're collecting down the road?
So I don't foresee anything imminently that would affect those types of items. One thing that will help us navigate SB1 is in 2027, the 20-year TIF on the Lebanon Business Park does fall off. And so that will be a good chunk of AV coming back that will provide a good infusion for us to combat those further, tamping down of the AV that Senate Bill 1 does. I will say that TIFs and redevelopment commissions, their revenue comes from the overall tax rate. And so us dropping that 11 cents does have some implications on the TIF districts. I don't know what their finances are, or I doubt that makes it impossible for them to pay their debt service. But that is of particular note for our TIF districts. Haven't had an opportunity to speak with any of them regarding the drastic drop in our tax rate. Of course, it is possible that our overlapping governmental entities may be raising their rates this year, and our drop may be offset with that.
Sure.
Just time will tell. I'm anxious to see the overall Boone County budget order when that comes out early January.
Sure. Anybody else? All right, thank you, Mr. Dennis. Dr. Millman, athletic facilities.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. Wanted to take some time this evening to talk about some looks we're taking at our athletic facilities. Take you back to when we were campaigning for our 2 referenda questions, and some of those presentations that many of you attended. We shared with our community that we would be focusing on our classrooms, and focusing on school renovations and new school construction and our 10-year enrollment plan and all of those things before we would embark on taking a look at athletic facilities. Certainly the facility behind us, Student Activity Center, is going to support more than athletics. It's going to support our fine arts programs, our physical education programs, and our community. I believe it's a strong community asset as well. So while that does have a large athletic component to it, it also was not brought on board or brought to the board until we were comfortable that we were able to complete those projects in all of our schools. My quick napkin math, I think about a third of our students 6 through 12 are in athletics. Mr. Dunshey's nodding his head, but about a third of our student body are involved. So this is a significant portion of our student body that we support through this extracurricular activities and co-curricular activities, because our athletic facilities support our marching band as well, for example. So there's a lot of students that are supported through quality athletic facilities. Also shared back in 2022 that we had athletic facility needs. We have capacity needs with athletic facilities. We have facilities that outlive their useful life through athletics. One of the very first items that was brought to my attention as superintendent in 2019 was the track. We have a 6-lane track. It makes it very difficult for us, if not impossible, to host meets with multiple schools involved. just because of that size. If you know anything about our campus, you'll know the challenge there is you're a bit landlocked there with the location of the stadium and of the track. So that has continued to persist as a challenge with the track. When I talked about a third of the athlete or the student body being in athletics, track and field is our largest group of participants. I think we had over 180 high school students alone in track and field last year. We have 1,000 student high schools, so over 10% of our student population participate in that sport. So it is something that, you know, we believe we need to take a look at. We did upgrade the facility a bit when we did the turf field, which allowed us to add pole vault as part of our activities and for the track and field to make them and help them be more competitive. Teasing what we're looking at here at the end when I give you some bullet points and what we're looking at, because of that landlocked nature of where we are, the only real solution is to move the track, is to have a track in a different location if we wish to have the adequate number of lanes for student participation, which would be a minimum of 8 lanes, usually minimum of 8, 9 lanes in your straightaways for your 100-meter dash. Kind of think about that. So you're talking about two more lanes that would get us into a comfortable piece. So that's part of what we're looking at. How do we address that need? Our soccer fields are beautiful. The turf is beautiful. However, the concession stand / restroom facility, that is an example of something that's outlived its useful life. Mr. Triller's going to nod now from the audience because his team works on that facility all the time, and it's undersized. It's not adequate for the support of that program. The press box is there, but its location is not ideal. It's needs to be upgraded and or replaced as well. So we have some needs at the soccer facility as well. Challenges in our strength and conditioning program. So our current strength and conditioning area, we have just about doubled or beginning to double the enrollment in our advanced physical conditioning program. That is primarily athletes who take strength and conditioning during the school day as a class. And we are undersized for adequate supervision of that space and for the number of students that are enrolling in that program. Also remind the board that the current strength and conditioning room is built in a former auto shop. And so when it was filled in, what used to be the oil change pits in that auto shop, it would take some significant infrastructure work to build up that room to be, even if it was the right size, to be able to put weight equipment in areas that would be usable in a manner that could be supervised. So we certainly have some needs there to support our physical education programming and our strength and conditioning. We have challenges with baseball. We currently and have played competitive varsity baseball at Memorial Park for many, many years. Remind the board that is a city property. And with that does come some challenges. John's team, is maintaining that a distance from the school. It would be nice to be able to do some of that work when we're doing softball and baseball here on campus, or soccer with his team and equipment that's on our campus. So that becomes a challenge. The scoreboard is, I'm told it was relocated from some field many years ago. Pardon me? North Montgomery, decades ago. It cannot be upgraded. It's an old bulb style scoreboard. It will be a significant cost. That is a property that is in the off season. Then the field is used as the city, as they can and should, use to outside groups. And then, of course, John's team, when baseball comes around, we'll have to get it field ready, which does not come without manpower, resources, things of that nature. So that's certainly a challenge, as well as supervision Now we have JV softball and varsity softball side by side. So certainly from a coaching perspective, from a fans perspective, from a supervision of events perspective, from the athletic director side, that would be advantageous as well to take a look at bringing some of those things on campus. Football has a challenge as well. It's a recurring theme here about outliving your useful life, but those bleachers have been there a long time. There's a section of bleachers, there's a newer section, but the old section has been there for quite some time. The pitch of those bleachers makes it challenging for our spectators to view the games. We are a growing school district, we're a growing program. We are attracting more and more fans. Those stands are full every home game, and we're 2 to 3 people deep along the fence, folks watching the games along the fence row. So there are needs both on the home side as well as the visitor side to accommodate the number of spectators that we are attracting. So there's definitely some need there to be able to upgrade that facility, which would, when you're going to do that, you're going to upgrade a press box, which is also undersized for the number of coaches that are attending there and attending the game, both visitor and home. So we have needs just in the size of the press box. Of course, as soon as you add square footage to the press box, the building codes, the architect's codes mean you have to put an elevator in once you reach certain square footage. So you have the scope of what the needs are becomes larger as we talk about that. The challenge for multiple sports is that we do not have a locker room facility for our soccer, softball, if baseball was on this campus, and if track and field was on this campus, where students can secure their belongings, have a home base, etc. So as we're looking at some of these athletic campus improvements, we would have an opportunity when you're looking at a space like the concessions and ticket area and restroom facilities, the soccer facility, to do the project quote unquote right and address some of those needs that those athletics need to have. So what we're really kind of kicking the tires, if you will, on and taking a look at potential designs is to take the track to a different location, likely located somewhere near the soccer fields, potentially relocating JV baseball and varsity baseball side by side on our property, also in that same area of our campus. The JV baseball field could be considered for future parking if we need it. May or may not needed to be done at this juncture, but it could be something that could be looked at as additional parking for the softball, soccer, all the activities. That would be part of that. The football field would increase the capacity on both home and visitor side, likely bring the stands closer to the field as the track would be relocated, so kind of creating more of a stadium type of an atmosphere on that particular side of the field as well. So moving the strength and conditioning room to what is currently our auxiliary gymnasium, repurposing the current strength and conditioning room to academic spaces, where the high school would utilize that for classroom spaces. What exactly that would be, whether it be STEM classes or other purposes, there's a lot of possibilities with that type of square footage that we have available that would open up from a classroom standpoint. So a lot of discussion's been taking place. I don't have documents for you tonight. I don't have renderings or pictures. Just more talking through the concepts of the scope of what we've been discussing, looking at, engaging with some design professionals to begin to kind of have some sketches and ideas about where these things could potentially be located. So again, it's a big undertaking, but something that we shared many years ago, that our needs in the district, but we have placed them in the order that we promised we would for the board. So I know you'll have some questions for Mr. Dennis and I, so I'll stop talking and let you weigh in and ask your questions.
So Mr. Dennis just told us about our tax rate, which is great. So I think the biggest question would be, would that impact this? How much would it cost? You know, would we be able to fit it into our debt service, what we're already doing?
Yeah, so in terms of the debt service on this, so the way payments are layered, they're front-loaded in a particular issuance's first payment. And so what that allows then is each year a little bit of debt falls off to make room. I can't sit here and say that our levy will remain the same in this case. I don't know that it's something that would substantially change. I don't know that this would not add $6 million to our debt service every year. When you're talking about a project such as this, you're talking about mainly site work. You're not renovating occupied space. You're not renovating indoor space. We're not talking about making lots of rooms. Obviously, you know, for an outbuilding, there's conditioning and things like that. So there would be HVAC systems and things like that, but you're largely talking about site work here. The conversations we are having is with a turf softball field. It would likely mean a varsity turf baseball field. So a good sizable initial investment there. But then there's no field maintenance. And I'm not going to stand here and say that not purchasing clay and turfus and diamond dry and things like that completely overcomes, you know, the cost of turf. But, you know, how many games do you play that would be rained out on a natural field? I think the JV field would be natural. Gives us an opportunity to have a lot more athletic space on the interior of the track facility. What we do know is coming, and it already is in the works to be an IHSA sport, is girls flag football. And that is a completely different lined field. I'm not saying that we could not line our turf field with temporary paint in the way that, you know, some NFL stadiums do when they host different teams, but we would have to have a space. And I think that that is an emerging sport that fits very well at Lebanon. And so that gives us an opportunity to have, you know, that field for girls flag football.
That would be located in our working concept inside the relocated track. We would have that turf area that could be used for practice soccer, could be used for flag football, and that would be in that interior space in that relocated track space.
And I think to provide a complete answer to that question, I think the aim of this administration has controlled responsible growth. And so this is not what I'll lovingly call a Taj Mahal type solution where, you know, we're talking about, I hesitate to even say a number because I haven't received one yet, but we're not talking about a $50, $60, $70 million master. This is truly a master plan here. This is not just, hey, we want a new baseball field or a new track and field. This is utilizing the land that the district currently owns and making it right for our growing school district. We had this conversation similarly when we talked about, you know, the overages that we're experiencing at preschool and admin, and we have an opportunity to do we want to make it work or do we want to make it right? And so is what we have right now working for us? Absolutely, it's been working for us, you know, for years. But as Dr. Milliman mentioned, all of our locker rooms, you know, we do have locker rooms for all these sports. They're just right behind us. But then they don't play here. So they're commuting with all of this. This gives us an opportunity to provide, you know, that unique space of an on-campus, truly on-site locker room in that regard. As far as the weight room, those walls are already up. This is the most efficient and economical way you have to make a new space. To piggyback on Dr. Milliman, half of our current weight room is on crawl space. And so the words that he was searching for there is it is not structurally sound to place more racks. That's where all strength and conditioning is taking place now. The racks where you can convert them into power clean, bench, squat, that's where kids do everything. Our structural engineers will not let us place more of those on the back row there because that's where they used to change oil in all the cars. And so we actually looked at a solution where we made that area structurally sound with flowable fill, and it was $1 million solution to make that amount of square footage, which is arguably small. Again, as Dr. Milliman mentioned, we have 300 kids at Lebanon High School taking advanced physical conditioning. behooves us to have more kids to be able to take a section, but we're limited by the number of racks that we have right now because we simply can't put more over that. And so, again, I want to echo that, you know, everything we've done here has been with an approach of responsible, controlled growth, and this would be no different.
Any other questions?
So what kind of a rollout are we talking about here in terms of, you know, you listed several things.
Yeah.
So this is, I'm assuming, a multi-phase
Correct.
type project.
Right.
You know, how are we making any decisions, or how are we initially thinking about prioritizing things, you know, and what sort of an ultimate timeline are we looking
Sure.
at here?
If we wanted to get things rolling, to have a, let's say, a track season in time, right, in a construction cycle, you can kind of think about the phasing that would make logical sense. So you'd start this project with the track, because then you could begin in the off season your football stadium work when the track is complete, right? So we would need to begin fall of a particular year, 2026, say, if you started in the fall. So for the board's perspective, you'd need to be looking at concepts, designs, and then the board looking at paying for it sometime in the February, March timeframe in order for us to begin to break ground in the fall on projects to get the track underway. So then you can start the ball rolling with a sequence of projects that would follow, because you want to be able to get football back online with the number of months you'd need for another fall to roll around. I'll let Mr. Dennis
If I
kinda
may
talk
add
about
more,
that.
I'm very pleased that the word phased came out right there, because that's kind of the final answer to Mrs. Hutchinson's question. Much in the same way that we've taken cash flow as necessary for these construction projects, whatever the overall cost of this may be, if this is the direction that we go, would not be a deal that's executed at once for debt service purposes. You utilize and issue the cash that you need, and this would be phased. And Dr. Milliman's exactly right. The goal is to never displace one of our teams. Whereas when you renovate, let's say, a natatorium or a pool, you generally have to find a place to swim. For another year, you bus kids. We'd have to go to Weibo to swim, say, if we were doing a pool. The goal is to not do that to one of our teams, and so we have to be very intentional. Dr. Milliman is correct. I think this hinges upon the track and field. Once you have a track and field that's ready to go, then you can renovate the current track and field and make that into the football stadium renovation that we're doing. So this would all begin with the track and field, speaking with the design team. If we were to get going in July of any given year, whether that's 2026 or 2020, whenever it may be, they believe that they could have a track and field, confidently believe that they could have a track and field ready for the track and field season of March of any given year if they can start in July of the previous year. So if you think about those number of months, about a 9-month, again, you're not constructing indoor space. It's a matter of site work, honestly, what I learned was the biggest long lead item right now, believe it or not, is actually bleachers. It's a 9-month lead time on bleachers. So that's where we would be. So I'm not saying we couldn't start in October, November, but then the timing of this is important because doing mass excavation in those sloppy months is more expensive. And so having the Mass X contractors there over the summer is a more economical solution. So that's the general timeline, but it would all hinge upon the relocation first and foremost of the track and field. But this is a multi-year phased project, and it's also multi-phased in the terms of debt issuances to make the debt service much more affordable to our overall levy.
Do you have on the wish list a most important to other than your scheduling? What you're talking about is more of we're going to do it all. We have to phase it to properly be constructed. Do you have a specific? Okay.
Well, it's tough because the needs are there in just about every category. However, I think the track situation, then that leads to the need for the capacity and replacement at the football area. I didn't mention in my bullet points, I must have skipped over it, the second most popular item to bring to the superintendent's attention since I've been here is parking at the soccer area. So that's part of this conversation as well. So as you said that, Mr. Parks, I thought of that. You know, I was thinking track, football, soccer parking as major concerns. You kind of get into this, if you do A, then B becomes part of your conversation. So for example, the facilities for the student athletes in the soccer area, what's the right size? Because if you trimmed something back, then down the road, are you going to want that facility if and when you complete that? So how big do you make that space in anticipation of something happening down the road, or do you do it now, you know, in the plan and in the phase? But I suppose if you were like pressing me on that, you know, it's track, football, soccer, parking, those are all kind of, those bubble to the top in my head. Mr. Dennis.
I was going to agree. I mean, going back to my statement before, if you were to ask us right now, what is not working right now? And that is our track and field. At most.
And strength and conditioning. I mean, that would be, but I think that's kind of, Mr. Dennis did a good job of talking about the urgent needs in that particular facility and the fact that we have a facility already standing that we're able to capture to be able to address that. But
Yeah, I think the thought with, I mean, where we're talking about this going is in the 60 acres that we own just to the north of the middle school, that the land is currently cash rented. And, you know, if it was what's not working, it's the track and field. We will have mass excavation going on there. I think it makes sense from an economical standpoint to do the ball fields at that time as well because they're there. Do we have to? No. We have a JV field on campus right now. We have the varsity field at Memorial Park. I know we've talked a lot at this dais that now is as cheap as construction will ever be, and so it could be master planned for the future. Of course, we would just be bringing those folks back out, remobilizing them. But again, it could be master planned. But I think Dr. Milliman said it well. Just having an understanding of what our future needs will be to make sure, you know, if we are building that locker room space out there for the track and field team, if we ever do want to bring baseball there, and for that matter, softball as well, having that locker room space where, you know, literally their locker, you can walk from their locker to the ball field, as opposed to, you know, loading up the cars or quite frankly right now what they're doing is just walking up the drive on the middle school there. So it would be a matter of if the entire plan that Dr. Milliman shared, it would not be implemented kind of in this first phase, and phase two might be 5-10 years from now. We would want to be intentional that we design the interior square footage.
Having traveled to various places over the past several years, right? Like at Triton Central, I mean, they have a complex that is one shared locker room and it makes a lot of sense.
When you get bang for your buck too, so soccer occupies the locker rooms in the fall, and.
But what would be the time frame for us to even be able to see some type of a schematic? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I am going to, you brought it up, I'm going to ask, I have to, because my daughter would kill me if not. And that, what about the swimming? Because I would say that, is it working? It is a very difficult facility, and I know, but in the master planning,
mm-hmm.
for athletics, if we're talking holistic master planning, not necessarily executing, but do we need to consider alternative, figure out how that could work? Because it is a difficult, very difficult facility right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges with that.
Yeah.
Starting with the landlocked campus, potentially landlocked. I mean, you know, that's a big footprint. That on its own, not knowing what the number would be for what we talked about today so far, I'm gonna guess it would be double that
Yeah.
by itself. So it's a significant number.
Yeah, I think when you talk about everything that we've talked about up here today, swimming alone costs that by itself. We did investigate this when we were looking at the current project going on at the high school, and the number we were given at that time to renovate our current pool, you know, maybe blow out a wall and go into the bus lot or head out towards the football field. The number we were given was 20 to 25 million, and that doesn't even get you a new pool.
Yeah.
That just gets you. So I will say, from a master planning standpoint, the pool has not been forgotten about in this. So by constructing a new JV field, okay, keep in mind we've got a JV field right now, that could become a freestanding natatorium. That's space that we have on our campus to be a freestanding natatorium. We're not building a parking lot at that point because we can utilize the parking that's already there for softball and the middle school parking where the teachers park. So we've
And that's
got
where
the
I
land
see the
area.
master of, or the
Yeah.
beauty of true master planning.
Yep.
Of figuring out your overall everything and rather than let's rush to get this piece done here and then find out that later on, well, we shouldn't have put it
No,
there.
it's good.
Yeah.
That
Because we have seen the detriment of short-sighted,
Sure.
and that a lot of us inherited some short-sighted things to save a buck, that we've had to go in and pay a lot more money on some of our facilities that,
Right.
so I think we need to be considering holistically and not
Sure.
to make a true educated decision on anything. I think we need to be able to see what
Yeah.
how we see things rolling out, and maybe that's scope creep, but it's really more just on the front end. It's more about identifying how things could fit.
It's certainly tight. And to think about moving dirt in July of 2026 right now with where we are in this project is, it's tough. And so I think moving in the early part of 2026, have renderings in front of the board with where we are, that really illustrates that whole master plan idea that you mentioned, to not forget about swimming and to make sure that we're utilizing, again, the land that we own as it diminishes in the best possible way to service this overall master plan. And so we've got some questions going out about some survey work in that parcels. I was on some emails today. And so we are moving in a direction. Again, haven't, all of this is being done right now, I'll say pro bono for the moment, because we have to prove the viability of this. So the district is not on the hook for any type of monetary compensation right now to any professional partner as a result of this, as this is part of the process. How feasible is this? And so that's what I would say is going on right now, a feasibility study of our physical education and athletic campuses from a holistic standpoint, really between the LHS and LMS campuses.
Anything else? All right, well, stay tuned. Speaking of growth,
Yeah.
have an update on our pre-K.
Yeah,
Tiger
Tiger Cub
Cubs.
pre-K update, just a brief update. Mr. Hunt's here this evening. He's going to be asking for your approval of the student handbook this evening, so he's here to answer your questions as well. Just wanted to add this as an information item, that we are still on track for our timing that we've been advertising, that early in January of 26, we'll be sending out enrollment information to the community. That will be in the form of a Google form. We're just going to make it a little bit easier for Mr. Hunt to be able to gather some information about the families, and then there'll be a deposit. I think it'll be $100. Is that what we settled on? 100. Yeah, in March with their official enrollment, there'll be a $100 deposit as part of that, and we're nailing down the cost as we speak, and that'll all come out in January as well. But I just wanted to let the board know we are on track for that. Mr. Hunt is working on scheduling some meetings the best he can with some of our community businesses and corporations to talk about potential whether there's an appetite from them to partner with Tiger Cubs Pre-K to maybe help their employees be able to access
Tiger Cubs pre-K, because we know that we've shared here many times that our goal is for the student population of the pre-K to mirror the student population we have here in the district. So affordability is something that's on the front of everybody's minds, of course, when it comes to early childhood education in Indiana right now. So we're going to be entertaining any and all interested parties that want to talk about how they may be able to help with that and partner with our work, because it's going to be quite an asset to our community. So.
What's the student capacity?
So we have, help me out, Mr. Hunt. We have 5 classrooms. It will be at what was the central elementary site, 2 classrooms at Perryworth that will be dedicated to this. We've set 22-to-1 as that number, as the max. There'll be a certified teacher in every classroom, along with a paraprofessional in every classroom. So think about 11-to-1 adult to student ratio in that. So 5 classrooms of 22 and 2 classrooms of 22. So we'd love to have all those classrooms full.
So when we're talking cost, can you speak to kind of how we're coming to that ultimate determination in terms of, obviously this isn't something that we've decided that this isn't a business opportunity for us. So how's that breaking down in terms of the number we're getting to and, what we're providing, making sure it's a quality program and things like that?
Right.
I'm just curious as
Sure.
to what things are being considered.
Good news is, as a public school, we're employing certified staff. We can use the same formula we do when we plug in FTE for any of our classrooms. So we really are looking, again, like all of our situations, all of our buildings, it's mostly people. So we have to factor that in. We are including the developmental preschool, special education preschool at the central location. So that will require us to have a full-time nurse on staff. I mean, some of our students have some involved needs there. So we generally know what number to plug in for that number as well. We know the number for our principal. We know what our clerical staff will cost. Probably the moving target to some degree is going to be utilities on that building, in anticipating it being more efficient after the renovations. But we factor all those and kind of plug in what our operating costs will be, and then use our capacity as a number. But you also have to anticipate turnover of students. You're not going to be at full capacity all the time, so you play with your number until you say this is what we're going to need to set our tuition at in order to be able to operate at a number that's not costing the district a ton of dollars as well.
And
Mr.
it's
Dennis,
important
anything
to
else?
state too, the tuition dollars, what we distilled down to, because what was shared during the operating referendum is that the operating referendum is going to provide this preschool. And so here's what that means when the rubber hits the road. The operating referendum is going to pay for anyone in that preschool that does not directly interact with students and instruct them. So that means that Mr. Hunt's compensation, the front office staff there, the custodian that we have to add, that custodian does not exist right now because this program does not exist. The utilities, all of that is going to be handled from the operating referendum, as was the promise. So when we go to our enrollees and the money that we ask them to pay in tuition, I'm asking them to pay for the school nurse, the teachers, and the instructional assistants. So we're trying to make it as approachable and affordable to those families as possible, and utilizing the operating referendum in the manner that we said we would to keep costs as low and as approachable as possible to the folks that enroll in that program.
That being said, there's a cost to having certified teachers in every classroom. The advantage to the parent is you have a certified elementary teacher in every classroom. That will have an effect on what it costs to provide it. So that does drive the cost up. I mean, we have to be honest about that, but it also provides an incredibly high quality pre-K experience for the kids.
So our taxpayers that are enrolling in this, are they going to have maybe a little bit of a break on the enrollment fees?
There'll be a discount for staff members.
Okay.
But
So what about out of district that aren't paying taxes for this or didn't pay into the referendum?
we haven't discussed that. discuss that.
I mean, I'm assuming that's going to in part be determined by how many in-district students we're looking at versus what our out-of-district, capacity may even be. Is that a fair assessment? Is that going to be
Sure.
something that's weighed by the school
Yeah,
when making that
I
call?
think it's something that we really don't know what to expect when the requests for seats come in. We will have a window for our staff to give them an opportunity to have the seats. So there will be kind of an early window, Mr. Hunt, regarding that. I think we'll just kind of have to see.
Do we have any working ballpark figure in terms of where we stand right now of approximate? You may have said this and I may have missed it.
Yeah.
But, are we feeling pretty good about where we're going to be locked in at there?
In terms of the cost of the program or the enrollment, I have to commend Mr. Hunt. The spreadsheet that he has put together rivals anything that I've ever seen, and I don't know that there is a single stone that has been unturned, but when we factor in everything, including his compensation, so keep in mind this is coming from two different funding sources. We're looking at the preschool operations costing us roughly $1.1 to $1.2 million annually.
Okay.
I would love for this to mimic and or mirror the demographics, the look of the rest of our district. So these kids coming in, when they then graduate to elementary school, see the similar thing. Is there any way that we can potentially do that? I mean,
With some help,
yeah.
we would need some help to be able to implement a sliding scale. Sort of addressing Mr. Havlin's question as well a bit, whether you slide above a certain number, what's that target, Mr. Havlin, to still make it viable, right? That's the quandary there, right? And we have had a lot of discussions about that, Mr. Parks, about how we have metrics that can help us determine some sliding scales, whether it be what currently determines students' eligibility for free and reduced lunch, for example. And so, we collect that type of data all the time when those applications come in. So, in this case, we might be able to take percentages of that above that, for example, and say here's the cutoff lines for, if you're at the free reduced lunch number, this is your number per month or per week, and if you're a percentage above that, you're a percentage above that, and if you're in a certain range, then it's that full amount. Without some help, that's nearly impossible to pull off. But I share your desire.
Do we know of any districts that have done similar and where they've gotten that help?
It's a good question from
Because
Mr. Hunt.
to me, it's a great
Yeah.
opportunity. I mean, it's a great asset for the entire community.
Absolutely.
And
we have
So,
visited-
I mean, to be able to partner with other
Yeah.
community resources would be
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah, I think it's
extremely-
a great, I see that type of partnership as an investment in our future and in the community, as we know that when students are prepared through early childhood education, they're more successful and on many metrics. Mr. Hunt has visited and has spoken to many districts who have these programs. I don't know if you've had experience with that sliding scale that we just.
As far as doing a sliding scale, multiple districts have put something of that nature together. A lot of that was dependent on state funding, which has now gone away. So those same corporations are looking for other alternatives. You'll see some of, you're talking about some of the $50 others for that district. There are corporations in certain ways that have been able to access those funds for support, whether that be in the capital end of it, in the operational end of it, or into this or put it together. We estimate each student as specific tuitions will be around $7,000. So how do we get $7,000 to offset the cost of having that child in our program? And when you look at overall Lebanon's current free-reduced lunch population and our number, you can kind of figure out where we would be if we were to get that year that we're looking for from a socioeconomic level. That tells us we need about $300,000 to $350,000 to create a sliding scale that would purposely offset free and reduced lunch students to make sure that that works.
Thank you.
Those
That-
are
that's
rough
great.
numbers,
Excellent.
Very rough, but if we can create the right partnerships, if it's a business partnership, as Dr. Goldman shared before, where we were able to say to a business entity, if you buy 10 seats, guaranteed seats for your staff, pay for 10 seats for students who would need
Free, yeah.
free support. That's one way. There's multiple models around the state that we use. A lot of those, again, connect to those local entities that are starting to step up. I think that's where the state's leveraging the idea of cutting the funding at the state level and wanting to see more local business and local government support. Early childhood education really critical spot. I think is really important.
Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you.
All right, consent agenda, staff matters.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchinson. I just recommend the approval of our classified, certified, and ECA staff consent agenda.
Any questions about those notes that you have been given? Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for classified, certified, and ECA staff as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Havlin. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Business matters. Mr. Dennis, financial update.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. Any questions from the board on the financial update provided for November 2025? Hearing none. Prior to reading the docket, my biannual reminder that the debt service payments are on this docket. So it is a substantially higher number that you're about to hear, but again, due to the debt service payments. So 2 payrolls for this particular docket in the amount of $2,896,961.56. Claims, which includes our operational expenditures, but also the debt payments, totaling $12,567,021.66 total between the two, $15,463,983.22.
Can I have a motion to approve the claims for payments and payroll as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Any comments from the public? Okay. Mr. Dennis, change orders.
Yes, you'll notice transportation has disappeared this month. We are officially closed out there. I will be providing to the board the overall breakdown of all of the specific line items that went into that transportation facility. I know a lot of times you'll get questions from the community as far as what some of these projects cost, and it's really tough to share that as the project goes on because you've got those contingency allowance, things like that. And we now have the final kind of gavel dropping on transportation, so I plan to have that to you before the January board meeting should you be asked about those things. Central is not far behind. In fact, you will see a gigantic credit this month at Central Elementary, approaching almost $400,000 of allowance back. Those are our final credits back, so Central will disappear next month from this. So slowly shrinking from the 8 pages that it is down to a more approachable number. But you also see at this point kind of Central has now finished well under where it was, where it arrived on bid day, which is exciting. In fact, the credits that we got back for all intents and purposes pay for the furniture in that building. So that's nice to see. As far as our other projects, again, we do see some standard change orders. The one with Gaylor at the middle school, keep in mind that includes a gigantic back charge to JBM, so JBM will be crediting us a large amount of that. Moving on to Hattie B. Stokes, found ourselves in a position there with the budget, quite honestly, where able to replace some of the laminate countertops that were kind of like similar to the dais right here, kind of a wood finish. They're peeling up, and quite honestly, again, they work, but gives us a chance to replace that with some solid surface and really helps the aesthetics, but also, quite honestly, the cleanliness of those spaces, as those are seats in some places, as they're little nooks under windows, but also some countertop spaces. Moving on to the high school, we do see some miscellaneous electrical changes with Gaylor, but again, some back charges in those numbers as well. And then finally, just one at preschool admin this month. Again, as I shared with the board, really some unfortunate findings when we were peeling back the drywall in what used to be the library there at Central, and it's clear that those windows were no longer weather-worthy. At that point, we had an option to manufacture custom windows to replace those, and that came in at $48,000. At this point with this project, with what I've shared with this board, did not feel like that was the wisest decision. So chose the most economical solution, which was to remove those windows, stud and drywall, put EIFS on the outside and seal that up. So unfortunately, we do lose our natural light in that space, but not something that's necessary for that space to function, and certainly not worth the additional $16,000 to replace those windows.
It did take about 5 seconds to think about that when he came to the office. Natural light is nice.
Yeah.
And so I hated losing all that natural light, but 48,000 seemed a little steep. So.
Any questions about the change orders? And it was nice, Dr. Milliman sent a photo of the transportation center being used in our past weather events with all the screens, and it was very nice to see.
Yes, and the board, if any of the board wants to join me tomorrow at 9 o'clock, I'll be serving, Mr. Dennis and I will be serving Transportation and Buildings and Grounds some donuts to thank them for their hard work in this inclement weather we have. So pop on up and we'll be happy to give you a Titus donut.
Can I have a motion to approve the change orders as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Havlin. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Farm rental agreement with Will Hoyt Green Company. Mr.
Yep.
Dennis.
So December is our annual month to approve this cash rental agreement with Mr. Will Hoyt Green for the north 60 acres there. I do want to bring up to the board that this mimics the same contract that we presented to Jackson Farms when we were going to build Central Elementary. So again, we talked about the athletic master plan. In the event that anything happens in that field, there is some common law in Indiana that greatly favors farmers, and as such, putting a contract out that charges cash rent for that field, if we have to go in and begin Mass X or anything like that, we have some exposure with common law if we don't present a free cash rent. So the cash rent we receive from that is roughly $16,000 a year, to $8,000 payments. Certainly not an insignificant amount of money, but also definitely worth waiving that this year, in the hopes that Will Hoyt continues to farm that, because cover crop is necessary to keep that not an aesthetic nuisance. But I do want to let the board know that this is a free cash rental for that field. There is no guarantee that the farmer will enjoy any crop yield at all in the event that some type of development may take place in that field, should that be the direction that we go. So I did want to bring that up as far as how this is different in previous years where we actually would be charging cash rent.
Any questions about this agreement? Can I have a motion to approve the farm rental agreement with Will Hoyt Grain Company as presented?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Mr. Dunshee, the LMS course guide.
Good evening. Usually I try to do this in about 30 seconds, or usually have been. Okay. It's going to take a little longer, and I blame Mr. Meyer for that. The state of Indiana, as always, have changed diploma types, diploma tracks, and you say, so what do I care about that? Well, they're also pushing it further and further and getting credit acquisition in the middle school. So if you've noticed in the packet there that we've added a couple of things to get some kids some credit while they're in middle school. for very comparable courses. So I'll update the changes to the guide, and then I can answer any questions on that as far as the middle school, high school credits as well. One major change, if you look at the wording, I changed all the wording to match exactly what the state course guide says for middle school courses. We had our own little tweaks on there for what we were actually teaching the class. It's actually going back to what the standards say we're supposed to be covering in class. Not that we weren't covering the standards, but it is now word for word what the state guide says. So that was the first thing. We deleted 3 things. Digital art, we didn't have the enrollment for that. Digital citizenship was a 6th grade. It satisfied our computer science elective that we have to have in the middle school. So we deleted that, and I'll talk about why we're deleting that and adding computer foundations in 8th grade. And we deleted walking for fitness. Basically with having the PE credit, we needed to delete that. Otherwise, we were giving too many PE credits out, so I'll talk about that as well. We are adding, the first major thing is Geography and History of the World. That's a grade 7 class, and that will be worth 2 high school credits. And you're thinking, okay, you're really doing this for 7th graders? It's very comparable. If you look at the 7th grade standards as they stand and the standards for Geography and History of the World, they are very mirror of each other. So we talked several hours about different things with Dr. Ottinger and Mr. Meyer and myself about, is there an opportunity that we could take advantage of here, that we could give kids a chance to get some credits out of the way, which then opens up some things for them as they go to pathways in the high school. And I know they're not pathways there, they're called SEALs, diploma SEALs. So they're a little bit different, but the same idea. As they go through their high school career, how many credits can we get, and how can we get them in the best, most efficient manner, with kids changing what they want to do about every other day. I know my son has gone through that several times this year.
Mr. Dungy, also that moving that to that middle school course could open up advanced courses sooner.
Correct.
For the students.
There's the opportunity. There's an AP course, which is
AP Human Geography is very actually nationally, and certainly in Indiana, very popular AP course. Gets the students' feet wet, if you will, in the AP arena. Very often taken as a freshman course. So students coming from this course in middle school with that credit could open up an AP opportunity in their freshman year. So.
And with any course that we have at the middle school, if you worry about the maturity of a 7th grader trying to take a high school course, we do weigh that in there, and we know that in our back pocket they have that second opportunity to take it to high school as well if they should need to replace that. It would just be an audit on their transcript, and then it would be replaced with their better grade if they take it to high school. So that's Geography and History of the World. Computing Foundations for a Digital Aid will be an 8th grade course. That will take the place of our 6th grade course that we were doing, which was Digital Citizenship. Again, it's a high school accredited course. It's a 1 semester. It will be the opposite semester of preparing for colleges and careers that we currently offer as a high school credit. So it's a nice offset there. It gives them a nice 1-year sequence for our 8th graders to take. And the third thing that we're adding is physical education. We're actually going to retroactive for this semester and do it for next semester, give high school credit for physical education in 8th grade. A lot of schools are doing this again to get that credit acquisition, gives them more time. And you just heard a whole bunch of discussion about weight rooms and physical conditioning and putting all those things in there. By having to take a PE course while you're taking just general physical education, you're not taking weights, you're not taking ABC, you're not taking all of these courses. Having that credit out of the way gives them the opportunity to take that. Then in the high school, it opens up another slot for them to take that. I don't know what the number is, but the number of kids that took it for summer school was large PE. Correct. In previous year, and they've also reduced it now. You don't have to have 2 credits in PE. You just have to have 1. So that will satisfy their PE credit for high school, getting that out of the way. Benefit to us as a school, they are also working through the school grade requirements, how you actually get your school grade. ABCD will be on the ABCDF scale. And one of the success indicators that they have for middle school is credit acquisition of high school credits. If you get 2 credits of high school in a year, so let's say our 7th graders get credit in geography, that is a success indicator. That takes the kids that would normally struggle on iLearn, they get those 2 credits, they move over a category, and it bumps them up a percentage-wise. For example, let's say I did not pass iLearn, I count 0 points towards the school grade out of 100. If I get 2 credits in geography, I now count for either 45 or 65 points out of 100, even though I didn't pass the test. So the state legislature is looking at this and saying, let's not put everything just on a test score. Let's give schools other options. And there are other metrics in there. There's an attendance metrics. There's passing 6th grade science is a metric. Remember what the others are. They're still evolving, and it hasn't been finalized, but these are the things that they're putting out there for us as far as what our grade is going to look like. And their reasoning behind it for middle schools, again, talking about the credits, is there were several schools across the state, and I don't know how many there were. I didn't do the research on that, but they were, say, 2, 3 middle schools in a district. All 3 middle schools are a C, and the high school's an A. And you say, how does that balance out? And we had that many times. We were a C grade, Mr. Meyer's school was an A grade, and the reason is because ours was all test-based. If you didn't do well on iLearn, you don't get the grade.
And if you failed the test by 1 point, or you didn't hit the pass, I hate to use the word pass, but if you didn't hit the cut score by 1, it's 0, or by 10, it's 0, or by 20, it's 0. So there's no grace based on that. It's pretty black and white, so that makes it very difficult to overcome.
So we've added, obviously, several high school courses. We still have Ag as a high school course. We still have Algebra 1 as an 8th grader as a high school course. So with all of these added incentives, it also helps the high school because part of their school grade metrics is how many credits do you have at the end of your freshman year. Well, if you get these credits in middle school, those count towards credits towards your end of your freshman year as well. So it's a good thing for the high school student as well. And quite honestly, it just is going to raise the accountability. We said, how accountable are we going to hold our kids to? We're going to hold them to a higher standard. We're going to get them through. So those are the additions, deletions, and things after that. If you have any questions for Anthony, happy to answer it.
Questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Can I'll make the motion to approve the LMS course guide. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? All right, thank you. LHS course guide, Mr. Meyer.
That's fine.
Hi, everyone. That was a long 30 seconds. Good job. Did you actually get a time on that? Okay. Mine will not be quite as long because he explained a lot of the things that I would want to explain and did a very nice job of it. I really just have up here our summary document that I'm really working on. And you'll see we have several courses, 5 courses there that were removed. And essentially, physical education, advanced life science foods is removed simply because we don't need them anymore. We don't need PE2 moving forward with the new diploma. Life science foods is just not really good for our pathways in ag, and we don't have a suitable teacher or environment for that class. We have replaced that with plants and soils, which is better for advanced life science in that pathway. We're getting rid of some digital design. Those classes have been very small historically, and we're not getting our bang for our buck with that. So we are trying to look into moving into some photography, something a little higher interest to students that they will want to do in the art classes. And then, of course, we're adding some basic skills with math and English specifically. That will be primarily geared toward special education students who are enrolled in general education classes but have some basic deficiencies, 3rd to 5th grade level in math and reading, and it's really just a smaller environment for them to improve. We will still have the labs for English and math, but those will be more for the general education students who just struggle, that kind of lower 10 to 15% of that middle core group. We've added a couple physics classes, or a physics class, I'm sorry, some cooperative education and career internship courses, our ed professions capstone. Of course, we're always trying to bring more folks into our arena because we know how valuable it is for our society. And then just a couple of different electives in English and elsewhere. And yeah, advanced speech and dramatic literature. Also, finally, 2 AP classes, AP Human Geography. Mr. Dunshee talked about 7th grade geography and history of the, geography and history of the world. That historically has been a freshman level high school course that we did away with when I started here at the behest of the social studies department. They wanted to increase the rigor, and so now we have world history instead. And so this just kind of worked out very well for us. The new diploma, whenever I hear something from the state that they're going to kind of fiddle around with our diplomas and what we're doing in the buildings, I always get a little nervous. I'm from Missouri, and so I'm a born cynic, and I don't really trust them like maybe I should, but they've really done a good job of listening to constituents with the new diploma. They wanted 1 diploma. They technically have created 7 diplomas. But our goal is to get kids an enrollment, employment, or enlistment seal when they walk in the door. That's what they're going to be tagged with, one of those. Obviously, enrollment is probably what we want the most, even though we say every kid doesn't want to go to college or doesn't need to go to college. I want to be able to give them that option later in life. So I think you've probably heard me say something like that before. So the new accountability as well it's still in progress. They extended the question and answer period to, I believe, January 7th. Okay. So that public comment period is still there. They'll have some more discussion, and I suspect in late January they'll have a solution to our accountability. But much of the changes we've done is we're looking at those consistent elements that have happened through the iterations, and that's why we've moved some classes. That's why I've asked Mr. Dunshee to pick up some of the high school classes to help them, but also it's mutually beneficial for us. And there is that work-based learning component that most of these seals and these high honor seals require, and that will mean more time out of the building for some of those juniors and seniors, and being able to get some of those credits done earlier helps that out at the back end for them. So I appreciate him and Dr. Ottinger working with me and working together to make that happen. I think it's really going to be beneficial for our kids. Overall, we're adding those 2 AP classes, but you can see there is a breadth of classes we're offering, and that's kind of the intent of the new diploma, is to give us some flexibility of what we can do with our kids, kind of broaden their horizons and give them more opportunities. I've been really, since I started here 2.5 years ago, I've been really thrilled with the number of opportunities our students have for a moderately sized high school. I think we are right in a sweet spot for what we can offer for students, and they get a great experience by the time they're done. Want to let you know a couple statistics about AP, which I'm really passionate about, if you haven't already been able to tell. When I started 2.5 years ago, we had 17 AP class offerings. We now have 23. One of the newest ones that I'm most excited about is the AP Business Personal Finance. Mr. Joris, as you know, a few years ago was the Teacher of the Year in this building, and really is very keen and excited for that class. That is a state, it's a legislated class that we have to have personal finance for every student, so this is going to be just a higher level for some. And we've also been able to get that computer science principles in there, which is also a legislated class through statute. And finally, AP enrollment this year, we have over 600 kids enrolled in AP exams for the spring. Last year we had 395, and the year before that we had 290. So we're growing that, we're growing the rigor, we're challenging students, and those students are responding to that. And as Dr. Millman always says, high tide raises all ships. And I firmly believe that, and our students are rising to that challenge, as are our teachers. So thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here for you.
Thank you. Those are great statistics. Any questions for Mr. Meyer?
Love to see the physics on there.
I'm a big fan of physics, although Mr. Hannock said you know in class about 137 times, and I really didn't know. So.
Can I have a motion to approve the LHS course guide as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Can I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. And finally, the Tiger Cubs preschool family handbook, Mr. Hunt.
He gets about 10 seconds. The other two took up too much of his time, right? Yeah.
I don't remember deferring time, but I'll keep it brief. You should have a copy of the family handbook. I think it's important to note that it is about 95% complete. So I will be coming back with some items that we need to add to, specifically the contracted language for parents. This is a tuition-based program, so we've got to have some language around how we pay, when we pay, that kind of thing. Also, food service, a few questions still hanging out there that we'll need to address, as well as some other small items. Beyond that, we wanted to do, while it is incomplete, we wanted to get the majority of this out to parents because we don't want to bait and switch. We're asking them to make a choice about a new program in town. We want to be the program they want to send their child to. We want them to be armed with as much information as possible. And so this handbook not only lays out the policies and procedures and those types of things, it also touches on a lot of the frameworks of who we intend to be for those families and for their children. And so that's why we want to have that as a part of the packet that goes out with the interest applications in January. That way they have a lot of the questions answered up front. So I don't know if that was 30 seconds, but boy, I tried.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Less maybe.
And I would certainly entertain any questions you have.
Any questions? All right, I'll make a motion to approve the Tiger Cubs preschool family handbook. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Mr. Martin, boys baseball spring overnight trip.
Mr. Martin is ill this evening, so I'll take this
you're
one.
Right. I didn't notice he wasn't. I didn't look over there.
He was just being so quiet.
That's all right. Very quiet this evening. That's right.
Thought he went somewhere.
Mr. Dunshee and the young Mr. Dunshee would like your consideration on approval of the baseball team to go to Tennessee over spring break and play some baseball.
Sounds fun. Can I have approval of the spring baseball overnight trip?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. I know if you can make it a few more days, it's almost time for break. And our next, the first student day is January 6th, and our reorg meeting is January 20th, right before our board meeting. So everyone have